Bitch. Making a monster mug today. Doing just the sculpture so far. Materials monster clay. For anybody that's watching this on YouTube or between our streams, we are streaming between 8 and 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we were actually on that time?
Yeah.
Okay. As usual, my name is your host, the Craftsman. Or Herman Mudgett. Mostly Herman Mudgett.
Jen's here.
What up, Payne? So I was thinking we could try our chat thing through the website as a way for people to send us stuff if they want.
Payne is trying to get an armature going for an alien Bolton.
Yes.
What is Bolton?
It's a kaiju from Ultraman. It's either Ultraman or
Ultraman villain.
Ultraman villain. What is the other one? Super Kaizen. I don't remember. Which other what?
King Joe?
King Joe? Hello, King Joe.
No. Jen's asking which King Joe?
Which King Joe?
The big robot one?
Kaiju. Jen. Kaiju.
Oh.
Big old monster.
Okay. That might have been autocorrect. Maybe? You said Ultraman villain. Payne, you said Ultraman villain. He's villain. Alien Bolton is a villain.
Uh-huh.
Yes? From Ultraman? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So is King Joe.
If I remember right, Bolton was the kind of Gamera looking one.
Payne says so is King Joe. So King Joe is an Ultraman villain.
Uh-huh.
Nope.
Okay.
Wait. Nope, what? Delay. Ah.
I mean, there are like a billion Ultraman villains, so... right now I'm just getting a rough idea of where I want to position the handle when this is a mug.
He looks like he has a fish on his head and lobster claws.
That one.
Oh. Okay.
Bolton. Bolton looks like he has the fish.
Seeing it like that, so want it to be a teapot. Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I normally like to put my handles on the side, but I think with the ears sticking out as much, they would interfere. So what kind of armature are you working with? Paint? Just a standard wire?
Just wire. Turns out my crock pot was only half plugged in, so it's not melty yet, so I have to wait a bit more. Yeah, that's why I wish I had a crock pot with a removable liner sometimes. Just take it out and stick it in the microwave to quick start my clay. Okay, there. Doesn't yours have that?
No. Nope. It's all one piece. Super old-fashioned.
The brown part doesn't come out?
Mm-mm. Nope. It's cemented in, I'm guessing. I mean, it is a separate piece because it's ceramic and the housing is just metal, but it doesn't come out. Okay, do that. I think probably be smart. Is he still in focus?
Yes.
Yes, okay. The delay
Yes,
is
in
so
focus.
weird.
It is a little weird, yes.
I'm gonna start thinking about where the top of the mug is gonna finish as well. Because with a mug, I don't have quite as much flexibility in terms of openings.
6 viewers?
We have potentially 6 viewers.
Yes.
That's cool.
Oh, Sinister Cupcakes is here.
Ah,
Much love from Sinister Cupcakes.
hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, Chuck's here too.
Oh, hey Chuck.
Herman, did you work on it since Tuesday?
Nope. I have left it pretty much as was. I did just now put the roughest idea of where the handle's going to be in place.
A lovely hat on his head.
And now I'm working on conceptualizing where the top of the mug opening is going to be.
Sinister Cupcakes says, very well, so glad I caught you on here.
Yes. Yeah, we haven't seen your latest YouTube video yet, so no spoilers. I want to know what's up with the haunted cemetery. At least I think that's your newest one. It's the newest one I've seen on Instagram. I think I'm going to cheat this a little bit. I think. Yeah.
What are you changing?
So I was thinking I'd have to do a full round opening on the top, but I think just for the look of it, I'm actually going to cheat just a little and have it come flat across the top of the head, so it looks more like a sculpt from the front.
Like the opening is going to be?
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't drink out of this first little bit anyway, so it won't matter. This is one of the hard parts, because I have to make sure that it's reasonably even from side to side.
I'm just going to call them Sin for short. You're awesome. We really appreciate it. It's a short one, but we like it. Yes, that cemetery one was a lot of fun to make. I learned a lot about the area of Oshawa because of it. Really loving the creepy mouth on this sculpt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been through some revision, but I like it. It's very, very, very loosely based on the idea of a shock monster mask, one of the old top stones from I think they started it in the 70s, but it could have been 80s.
Chuck says, I can see him as a saucer, perfect for Thanksgiving gravy.
I mean, that is one of the things that we try and be careful of with our mugs, because we don't know what people are going to put in them. So I always try and make them as well as I can as a ceramic object, so that if someone does decide to put gravy in it, it will not do something weird. He would look super cool because he would not pour well. There would just be gravy running all down. Yeah, hopefully he'll be more reasonable as a coffee cup once he's shrunk the full 12%. But yeah, I've always got to be careful about like weight distribution and stuff too, especially when you start getting into like hot beverages.
Chuck says, but it would be a conversation starter with the fam.
Mm-hmm.
It would indeed.
Did
like
you?
a gravy goat.
Yes. Did you see the? Actually, are you familiar with Stiltby Studios, Alan
Alan Hopps's YouTube channel?
Sin asks, no, not a stilt beast?
Yeah. What is the name of that? There's a stilt performer who's been to a few of the markets that we've done. I cannot remember her name right now, but anyway, Alan Hops is a haunt curator, and he's a mask maker, general sort of Halloween fabricator, and he's done at least a couple of videos on how to make monster turkeys.
Chuck says yes, a little bit. He does monster camps and is also the guy running the latex mask group on Facebook. Oh,
That's cool.
didn't know that.
I don't spend enough time on Facebook, or I spend definitely enough time on Facebook, if enough time is no time at all. But yeah, I've watched a lot of his YouTube videos, and his monster turkeys were fun. So tonight's beverage conveyance is the turtle mug, and tonight's beverage is once again Kool-Aid.
Sin wants to know what flavor.
Orange.
It's basic bitch flavor.
It's a basic bitch flavor. I think the most basic bitch is probably the cherry. Maybe fruit punch.
Crocodile red. Asks Pain.
Crocodile red. I do not remember what that one tastes like. I know Sharkleberry Fin is not great.
See, the funny thing about Sharkleberry Fin is I seem to remember, like, I don't know when it came out, but I really liked it. I don't know if they changed it.
I don't know. Maybe you just liked the name enough that
It could be.
when you were a child and that sort of thing worked on you better.
Yeah, maybe. Chuck says I'll have to check the turkey video then.
Yeah. I hope it's still up. I haven't seen it in a while. He's got a ton of videos.
Okay, yeah, he does. Payne says you need some tang.
I mean, that is one of the sugar mixed beverages that is available readily in Canada.
Sugar in water.
Yes, it's sugar and water.
Or some of the lugs.
Yeah, I still prefer to mix my own, because then I can cut back on the sugar a little. Makes it more of an adult flavor. More sophisticated.
Okay.
I generally like 3/4 of a cup of sugar instead of the full cup.
Chuck says you gotta put the creepy callers to bed. Oh, gotta put the creepy callers to bed. See you later.
See you, Chuck. Thanks for stopping by. Have fun.
Pain. So is that where the drinking opening is to go? Or does he get a fun hat?
No, this will be the pouring spout area. So all of this will be a little bit taller than that, and that'll be waste clay that has to be trimmed off. But it needs to be able to come up so that the plaster has some room.
I like it as a little hat.
I mean, everything gets...
Are you turning him into a sailor?
Yes. I mean, at least it's not a fez this time. Almost everything gets a fez. I like to taper my pouring cups a little bit.
Jen says, I like it as a Georgie hat.
Georgie hat.
Georgie hat.
Wasn't that one of those paper folded, like pirate hat things? No. That was, he had a paper boat made. It was one of those raincoat inclusive hats. I don't know. I don't start paying attention until Pennywise shows up.
Oh, the little boy with the hat from it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get these Facebook notifications to turn off. I think I did.
So if there is anybody watching that's interested in sharing their work, we are going to try using the... No? No, we're not doing that? Okay, my technical advisor points out that we're not doing that. Not yet.
They can send us stuff via any of our socials,
Well,
like Facebook Messenger or
that's what I was going to suggest.
Instagram. Oh, is that what you?
Yeah.
Well, you were saying website.
Yeah, don't we
earlier.
have a chat thing on our website?
Not at the moment. No.
Not at the moment? Okay.
No.
Yeah. If you're on Instagram, Handmade Curiosities, that's the one that would get...
Wayne G is calling in from Arizona, California.
Uh-oh.
Trouble now.
That's troublesome. How's Arizona?
Jen says they have the concept of a sharing work plan. Yes, we have the concepts of a plan. We don't actually have a plan.
We have two concepts of a plan right now. Eventually, possibly a Discord server, but as a stopgap, using our social media.
And Wayne says it's been really windy. I mean,
I understand sometimes it will be windy.
hey, but at least you don't have snow.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we don't have that much snow, really.
No, very little.
I mean, Payne's probably got more snow than we do.
Guaranteed. Significantly more. Trying to get this
She says, yeah, we got a bit.
this ratty hair laid out as well. Never one of my favorite parts of a sculpt.
Hair?
The ratty hair. Hair's hard to sculpt because it tends to be you want it to not have a lot of like solidity because it is a soft moving thing, but the clay don't do that, so you gotta improvise. And it's a lot of, it ends up being a lot of pure design type work. But there are people who are really excellent with hair and draperies. I like San Von Zed. She's got an Instagram and a YouTube channel. She always does a Friday meme stream in her stories, which is usually pretty entertaining. She's excellent with hair and vines and anything that's sort of flowy. I'm going for a really ratty, matted, unkempt hair for this guy.
Payne says she's really good with a wood texture on all her surfaces as well.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to build on too much more volume on the back, because then this will start to get tippy.
So, are you putting the handle on before doing the hair so you can kind of work the texture of the hair around the handle, or?
I'm putting the handle on so that I know where the handle's going to go.
Yeah.
It's going to have to come off for molding, and it'll end up being just there'll be a sort of a nub place for it to land, because it'll be molded as a separate piece.
Mm.
But I'm far enough along in the sculpture that I need to know what it's going to be. Just like I need to know what the top of the mug is going to be. Then I won't put some important piece up here for balance somewhere in there and then realize that it's got to go.
Mm. So Wayne says it's expected to be windy for a day or two, but not for the whole week, up to 50 miles per hour.
Well, that's not windy, but it could be a lot worse.
Mm. I asked if that rocked the trailer around a lot, and he said, when we're broadside to the wind, first wind event broke our storage tent, only a couple of months old. You guys and wind and tents don't really get along, do you?
Those storage tents don't hold up. We've crushed one with snow load back home once. The other real fun thing about the hair is I'll have to end up redoing a lot of it once I figure out where the mold lines are going to be. Because there will be stuff that will be difficult or impossible to mold. Almost assuredly.
Moved to block it with the rig, but it is a desert tent like a clam or a gazelle, but Chinese.
I'm guessing that clam and gazelle are brands of tent rather than...
Like, those are all certainly words.
Yeah. I can sort of understand clam as being a tent, but gazelle not as much. That's not a shape that's conducive to tently. Yes. clam-shaped tent would be kind of cool, though. Very old school dune.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think possibly I may want to add a little bit to the back of the base on this. We will see. Try and get the balance back to the front a little bit. See if that affects the look too much.
They're round, pop up, and have outrigger straps that hold it in place when it's windy.
Do they though? Do they?
Intended to hold it in place when it's windy.
That doesn't bother me. Okay, I think we will stick with that. That will improve the balance a little bit. I have to do more engineering with mug things than you would with a normal sculpture. Because the mass inside of it, when it's full, make it much more likely to want to tip on you because it moves. If you've ever tried to carry something heavy and full of water, you've probably experienced that.
I might have found a place where I can mute it if I have to.
Okay.
Not that it super matters.
Well,
kind of learning how this whole Twitch thing goes or works as we go along.
Yes. Still getting the tech ironed out.
Sorry.
We're also getting that ironed out.
Keep forgetting that the arms of this chair don't fit under the table.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I think I will have... Actually, that'd be a question for the chat. Who would be interested in watching a project like this get fully finished on stream? And who would like to just kind of watch the interesting part of the sculpture? Because there's a lot of finishing work that won't really change a lot very quickly.
Do you mean also the molding and whatnot?
Probably not the mold making, just because that's very difficult to film, and there would be large periods of just nothing to see while the parts dried, but at least a sculpt being started and finished entirely on stream. We'll have to inquire about that again later.
John says, I think that's a good option.
Could work. It could work. Gonna be a lot of rubbing stuff with this.
What is that?
This is a fine rake tool made from a guitar string.
So what are you doing?
Right now I'm just blending the forms, clearing out some of the rake marks so that I can go back in and reestablish some more surface wrinkles. Because at this point I have the anatomy, I think, largely roughed in, where I'm happy with it. I am going to have to knock his teeth out and re-sculpt those, but that's not a huge issue. That may actually be hard to show on screen though, because I'll have to pick it up a few times to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of editing process with sculpting like this. It involves doing a thing and then doing pretty much the same thing again.
How are things going with your stuff, Payne? Did you get all melty?
All hot and gooey. Probably don't have to wait for it to get all melty anyway.
She says, not great at the moment. Yes, I shortcutted it in the mic. Oh, microwave. I'm like, you did what with? What?
You did what with who?
With what now?
Yeah, I don't know about your crock pot, but mine has a tendency to
sort of gently squeeze up a nice little bit of clay for me to work with about half an hour after I turned it on.
Trying to get him to stand on his own is easier said than done.
Well, that is going to be a thing. I need to build a armature vise. At some point when we have people on that want to learn stuff, I can show off how to do how to get a sculpt started without an armature in monster clay. Took me a little while, but I think I've got that largely sorted out at this point. I don't like armatures. I always run into them while I'm sculpting. Do you think it would be a good idea to try and note what the plan is to do for the next stream on our channel at some point?
Yes?
If we're gonna start a new monster or
Oh, yeah.
refining, all that kind of thing.
And we could put a little blurb above the schedule that says, next episode, starting a new sculpture, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can do that.
If you think it would be a thing.
I think it would be a thing.
Today for sculpting I have Jordu Shell's shock monster mask up in the background to look at. He has some excellent movement in some of these wrinkles that I really like.
Wayne says, love the turtle mug.
He is good fun. It was not great fun to get the glaze to work, but I've got it now. It was a reasonably popular sculpt as well.
So what was going on with the glaze?
It didn't want to stick. It kept popping off after it was all fired. Little bits would flake off. So I had to adjust the formula and the application method a few times. Which is time consuming when you have
like a zombie horse?
yes, like a zombie horse. Not as bad as zombie horse. It wasn't sharp flakes. It was just little bits that kind of bubbled up and went crusty looking, and then you could take a a metal tool or something and scrape them off. I have a, if I thought it would show on cam, I would grab the Frankenberry that has the worst cant skirt that I have seen. I am saving it to take to somebody who knows more about pottery than I do and ask them what is up. Instead of trying to repair it. My suspicion is there is a mild, teeny tiny glaze fit issue, which means that the glaze doesn't expand it exactly, or it doesn't expand and contract through the firing process.
He asks, temp related?
Tangentially, yes. In that we're firing to cone 6, and if we fired to something different than cone 6, it might do something different. But we want to continue firing to cone 6, so we're adjusting our glazes. I'm happy with the clay body that I'm using, and I'm happy with the firing schedule that I am using. So I am adjusting my glazes instead of attempting to adjust around their behaviors. And it's also very, very minimal fine-tuning type stuff, because it only happens sporadically and in very specific places on a piece. In the case of the Ninja Turtles, it was the masks. I realize we don't have a lot of viewers at the moment, but I'm going to try and continue narrating for practice. Right now I am working some wrinkles in sort of the method that Don Lanning uses. If you're not familiar with his work, he worked on one of the Alien films, I believe. He also does a lot of teaching, and he does a lot of work with the, well, maybe not a lot of work, but he does work with the Stan Winston School, and he has some excellent videos for free available on YouTube. About how to make convincing wounds and scars and wrinkles in your sculptures. There's another artist named, I believe their name is pronounced Mecca. They are Feral Works on YouTube and Instagram. They have also some very excellent videos on texturing, that I could super recommend. One thing I do find a bit lacking in most of the things that I've seen give sort of instruction on creature design and monster making is they don't talk enough about the actual design process and the kind of just look of things. There's a lot of emphasis on anatomy, which is great, but it won't get you all the way. Anatomy just makes sure that things are conceivably possible, but it doesn't necessarily make things communicate what you'd like to communicate or look the way you'd like them to look. So right now I'm trying to make some of these wrinkles that follow this more circular eye form on this side and sort of follow a more erratic pattern where this little eye is for interest, and to reinforce this eye, which is a really strong shape on this particular sculpture. It's a big point of emphasis for the shock monster to have that crazy big eye. Wrinkles are a great way to sort of draw the eye around a form. Now my wife is trying to very surreptitiously get a burger out of a wrapper. I ratted you out.
Yeah, I know you did. I'm gonna eat my dinner.
Yes. Dinner is important. We're going to be a very informal streaming experience.
I keep forgetting that this chair is squeaky.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. Chairs squeak. Can you see the...
Wait,
He says, that's cheating, muting the audio. I know, I'm trying not to be loud. Did it work? It didn't work? You heard my loud wrapper opening?
Where did that little guy go? There it is. So this is the point in the sculpture where a lot of people,
No, I didn't hear the wrapper. Okay, good, it did work.
a lot of people like to use a thinner of some sort to kind of dissolve the clay a little for softening out forms. I prefer just a really stiff brush. I actually made this one out of a part of a broken snow brush. I tried this end out of a scrubber, but it's a little too stiff. It really, I can make it, like it really puts gouges in.
Do you hold that up again and show it, but show it to the camera beside you? I guess that's out of focus.
Yeah, it's
Never mind.
really out of focus.
Okay.
But yeah, this is just a dowel that's been drilled out, and the hairs are stuck in quite far and glued with epoxy. But these are stiff enough, and if you play with the length of a bristle, it changes the stiffness quite a lot. So you can get, this is another one that I use quite frequently. It's a really inexpensive house painting brush. You can see how thick it is. But this area down in here, I put thin super glue in to sort of stiffen the bristles up. You could also cut them off, but with inexpensive brushes, the hair doesn't go in very far typically, and it's not glued in that well, so it'll shed hair forever and ever. That's why I prefer to do it with glue if I can, or a combination of glue and cutting the hair off. But with just a little bit of work, that gives you a bit of a soft polish. I know a lot of people use rubbing alcohol for monster clay and Chavant clays. Obviously, if you're using wet clay or another water-based clay, you just use water. It's the thing that I miss most about when I was sculpting in wet clay primarily. The ability to just hose your sculpture down with some water and brush it over and soften everything really easily and really quickly. But the technique still works. It just takes a little more oomph. The reason why I don't like to use a solvent or a thinner is it can change the way your clay on the very outside behaves. It will dry it, or sometimes it makes it kind of mushy. At one point, Monster Makers was recommending isopropyl myricate. I believe they have a different thinner that they recommend now, but it works, but it's not a very volatile solvent, so it would take quite a while to fully evaporate. It was non-toxic and skin safe, which I guess was nice.
Hey,
Wayne says, yeah, they do, but they don't list the ingredients.
Yes, they don't list the ingredients. I mean, did you end up getting some of that pain? Like, what is it? Have you messed with it? What does it smell like?
She says I actually bought some on Black Friday.
Yeah, but I mean, do you have hands on it? Does it smell like paint thinner, or is it just isopropyl myricate with a fun new label? Isopropyl alcohol does work as well, but it leaves
She says, I'll do a sniff test.
a bit of a frosty sort of white powdery bloom. On the piece after it evaporates, and I found that distracting in my sculpting.
There we go.
My favorite method currently is a mixture of...
I will be right back.
Oh, I can see chat now. My personal favorite right now, and that's not a strong favorite, is actually a mixture of odorless mineral spirits and isopropyl alcohol, like somewhere between 80 and 90% alcohol. That seems to keep the bloom from happening. But I still only use it when I really need to. I mostly like avoiding thinners. I just don't find them necessary. Wrinkle texturing is just a lot of this. Putting in things, putting in shapes, softening them, and then reinforcing them where they need it. Just go back and forth until it looks the way you want. I didn't know you weren't wearing a sweater.
Well, an additional sweater.
An additional sweater. More
It's
sweater.
chilly. So this claims to be non-toxic.
What claims to be non-toxic?
The conversation with
Oh, yes.
Kate. You saw it? Okay.
I did not.
Oh. She
Yeah.
says it doesn't really smell like much. Claims to be non-toxic and odorless.
Yeah, my suspicion is it's isopropyl myricate. Again, just with a different label, or maybe with a little bit of alcohol added. That was something I did not try.
There's also a buzz on this feed.
Buzz on this feed.
Is there still a buzz?
Like a buzzing sound, I guess.
Has it been there the whole time?
Wayne G, can you confirm this buzz?
No.
Are you
it's
also
new.
experiencing a buzz?
Let me wiggle cables.
Wiggle cables.
Wiggle cables.
Do we have a confirmed buzz?
Basically started when Business Daddy went to get her sweater. Well, it's my fault, is it?
Did you just turned the mic down?
I a scrooge. No, that's a loaded question. No noticeable buzz on this end.
No noticeable buzz. Okay, so Payne, I think maybe we're going to want you to check your concert ear. See if that might be part of the problem.
No, that's a ringing.
Ma.
It's okay. Any better now, or is it still there?
Where is my... How's that sound on cam? Is that a good noise?
A little better.
Very professional. Also pointing things away from the camera while I'm working on it.
Super professional.
Very professional. Very mindful.
Wayne is going to drop out now. We'll drop in on future streams. Cool. Thank you for coming.
Bye. Glad you guys are doing well. Try not to get blown over.
Stay safe. Payne says ASMR getting cuts on your fingers by digging through tools.
I mean, I could. I've only got one sharp tool in that group. And that's my X-Acto knife, which probably isn't really all that sharp. Oh no, that's actually still sharp enough.
He finds out while stabbing himself with it.
Well, how else are you going to find out?
No, I don't know.
Wounds are a thing that happen. Could do a we could experiment with some ASMR. Maybe experiment with other things and do a mukbang.
We're doing a mukbang right now.
I mean, yeah, but you're not on camera,
No,
so
I'm not.
you're not willing to be on camera.
Not right now. I'm not. No. Candles, no thanks.
We're gonna try and peer pressure you when we get more chat going. Instead of show feet, it'll be show pie. Pie cam when. So I genuinely have no idea what this tool is. I think it's a knitting or string messing with kind of thing. It's terribly soft steel, but it does work pretty well for wrinkles. Which are again happening off camera.
What's happening off camera?
I was sculpting wrinkles off camera.
Oh.
Sneaky hidden wrinkles. Could do a beauty stream. See which wrinkle creams work the best to Get the wrinkles out of a sculpture. Yeah, the more sculpture progresses, the more it's going to look exactly the same for almost the whole stream, as I add tiny little pieces of clay.
Crouching hamburger stuff for hidden wrinkles.
Hamburger stuffer?
I'm pretty sure I'm the hamburger stuffer in this scenario.
I like it. Crouching hamburger stuffer.
Yes, I am.
So Canada A&Ws now have potato burgers for the vegetarian types.
Yeah, we didn't try it.
No, no, we didn't. Chewy tried a masala burger, which is a veggie patty of some variety, like a fried sort of.
No, they do not have cheese curds yet.
They're not gonna have cheese curds.
Yeah, I guess we're probably not, because Canada A&W and American A&W are two completely separate companies.
I also don't know if
Sad.
cheese curds are
I know,
that standard in American A&Ws. To be fair, I only know of one American A&W.
True.
I'm sure they must be somewhere, but there were none in Buffalo. I don't think there are any in Rochester. Just that lonely one in Cortland. Doing lonely A&W stuff. We'll do A&W stuff for money. Beverage. But yes, I'm supposed to be talking. My director is making mouth motions at me with her fingies. But it's just more in wrinkling. Should probably see what we can do about getting some background stream music in for dead air periods.
Maybe it can be Herman's story time?
No, it's not Herman's story time. Herman doesn't have any stories.
Please.
No.
Please.
No. No. No Herman story time. Herman wants to watch the new Nosferatu movie sometime, though. That will be fun. seems to be have been rather well received, if a little bit weirdly. A lot of thirsty vampire fans out there.
Did you block me? No.
Did I block you?
What happened?
Who did what? Explain.
Guess I was typing too fast?
Director, explain.
I don't know. What happened? What did it do? What do?
Reinforcing wrinkles.
Told me it wouldn't. Oops, where'd it go? Told me it wouldn't send my message. Then I tried sending it again, and it said I was silenced for 30 seconds for sending the same thing.
Thanks,
Shut up,
Twitch.
Payne. Oh, that might be slow mode.
Put her on slow mode.
Well, it's not her specifically.
To try and make chat more manageable when it gets busy,
Yeah, I guess.
perhaps.
So people can't just like spam it.
Yeah.
But also like the delay. I don't know if we. At this point, I don't think we have enough people to make it super necessary.
No. No, it will likely take some time to attract an audience, if that's even a thing that happens. Still, though, they're missing out on this hot wrinkle action. The lips look a little too clean and undamaged. What do you think?
I saw that very chin in the RX tonight.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing some like fantasy football style, like horror movie recasting.
Weirdly on
Projects.
a lady, though.
Weirdly on a lady. What's weird about women with a strong, prominent chin? What's weird about that, Pain? Women don't have mighty Bruce Campbellian
To each their
chins.
own. Some of us do.
Try a little bit of this action before I really damage the lips. I'll try for like a chapped kind of thing. I think my head is blocking cam.
No, you're. No, actually, you're okay.
I probably wasn't a minute ago.
A five head, yes. A mighty chin too. That'd have to be quite the lady.
Lady? That's no lady. That's my wife. I'm not sure if that's coming out on cam.
What are you trying to show?
Just some very fine little lip chappy wrinkles. I don't know what cam can really see.
that help?
No, not really. Yes, it's going to be a big.
I think we'd need a close up for that.
Yeah, this is why newer sculpts are probably more exciting to watch, really.
A sculpt right fresh from the beginning.
Right fresh from the beginning. Although, then you don't see a finished product, which can be less fun. I'm sure there are some people who are into just a rather chill in wrinkling experience. Well, what did you think about...
Payne, your dude looks like a horse. Can you see that from there?
I can a bit. Yeah, it does look a bit like a horse.
Or maybe Trumpy?
Trumpy.
Trumpy? Roof Tracks? Mystery Science?
Yes.
One of the two?
Uh,
Trumpy? You don't remember Trumpy?
I don't remember. Look, the...
Payne says LOL Trumpy. I forgot about him. Rough Tracks. Riff Tracks. I can't type with my keyboard sideways like this.
Well, then don't.
Pod People? This guy.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I mean, Ultraman monsters always have an interesting look. I want to say the claws feel very small to me. But I also don't know how faithful you're trying to be to the source material. I also don't remember exactly what the source material looks like off the top of my head.
They are, as I said, it's just a rough-in.
Yep.
So far.
Okay. Yeah, those Ultraman kaiju have a charmingly awkward way about them. Quite often. Pi, would you look and see if my head is in cam?
No.
When it's not. I'm not
You're
in the
not,
way.
You're not even on it at all.
Okay.
You're fine.
This is good. It's good to know my limits. Go back in and reinforce some more of this kind of arching shape. So again, mirror that rounded eye. Part of the stream that it's too bad Chuck is not here for. We were just
just talking about this kind of design stuff the other day in relation to his new mask that he is working on as a commission. So I'm not sure if he needs to be secretive about that sort of thing. For this tool, I think. This tool is very similar to the last one, but the extra length here gives it a bit of flexibility, which is nice for wrinkles. Or it can be nice for wrinkles. I don't like to get too terribly caught up in the finer details, even at this point. And there will be another layer of enwrinklage. It's even finer and smaller than these. But because these do affect the overall sort of visual rhythm of an area, I do like to establish some of these major wrinkles. Relatively early on, even if that means there's a chance that stuff will just get wiped out and done over if I decide to make any larger changes again, but that's just something you have to learn to live with as a sculptor, that you make stuff and then unmake it quite often. Can't get too precious about your sculpts. If you manage to make it once, you can always make it again. Never be afraid to change things. Hair area a little bit, I think. It's beginning to fall behind. And establish some of these yummy neck folds a bit better too.
So yummy.
So yummy wummy. Things like neck fat is a good place to establish some gravity into your sculptures. It makes things look much more grounded and believable if you can get the sense of a fleshy bit being pulled down with gravity, and sometimes even where you'll see it almost start to sag over a kind of a border line that can really make a nice heavy looking form. Although the most I can do with my particular work is a pretty flat bottom angle, because if I actually curved under, it wouldn't be moldable in clay because it would be too undercut. But if you're working with resin and silicone, you don't have to worry about that, and you can have a little bit of an undercut, and it will be fine. But really the best way to establish that kind of sagging gravity is think about the sort of side profile of a wrinkly area as almost like a bit of a teardrop shape, so that it has a strong area to the curve, a strong abrupt curve at the bottom face, and then a much more gradual transition at the top of the wrinkly curved form. So it moves in a nice slope at the top and a much more abrupt slope at the bottom, if that makes sense. Give you a good bulginess, a good weighty, meaty lump.
Triumphant. Veiny.
Well, we haven't got into the veininess yet. I should put a big, gross, nasty neck vein in on this. See if I can get that to work. It's always a challenge to make it travel across a wrinkly area. in a way that's convincing. Another nice thing.
You still could.
Well, I still can, yes. Another nice thing to consider is trying to put some areas of concave and convex forms together. So if I had a wrinkle here, a nice thing to do might be to actually bring the top of it in so it's just ever so slightly convex or concave as it drags down and then falls to a abrupt convex bottom. Maybe complicate it a little bit. Divide it up. Give it a little extra interest at that bottom. Ignore me. So balancing the concave and the convex works other places too. It's a good visual. It's a good addition of visual interest. Areas that are hollow and gaunt next to areas that are more fleshy and protruding. That is primarily what sculpting like this is, actually. It's just taking your forms that you've established and just kind of subdividing them to make them more interesting. And then occasionally you'll want to go back and simplify an area if it gets too complex. It starts to lose some of the strength that it has visually as a form. Just contrasting interesting little wrinkly bits. With these areas that are sharper and stronger and define your forms. But you never know until you've tried it whether or not you're going to want more wrinkles and crinkles. Or more clarity. Let's get that. Just adding more of an asymmetrical, hollowed shape to the nose, like it's kind of collapsing on itself. And also it's just straight collapsing. They didn't attach it well enough. No, I think I do want that back. Deciding whether I wanted to trim that little piece of the extra nose off. I think I want that. That's actually quite nice, that little curvature. Give this an extra little pit. While I'm in there and thinking about it, this area in the nose would be super difficult to mold properly. It's likely to go very badly.
Why is that?
Because it's too deep and it's too abrupt, so that's likely to catch. So what I want to do is I want to stuff some clay in there and see if it's necessary that it be that deep, or if just a little more like this thing will get you the same or nearly the same visual impact without making a difficult place in your mold and a weak place in your final clay sculpture. And a lot of times an abrupt transition of direction works just as well as a hollowed out area or a really deep recess, because of the way the shadow is cast on it. You don't actually need that much. You don't need as much depth as you think to make it work. Again, that's not really something that you have to concern yourself with as much if you're working with silicone molds as with plaster and clay. And I'm able to get nearly the same visual impact with a much stronger, easier to mold shape. I like to catch those sorts of things early
if they're an important shape visually. Something that I'm going to count on to sell the whole overall look. Even though I don't typically like to spend too much time worrying about how do I mold this thing while I'm sculpting. Because I find that's very limiting in the way that I work. And it would make me take less risks in terms of my shapes. I'd much rather fix problems that arise in the molding than try and anticipate them. But once in a while, it's good if you see something early to take care of it and make sure that it's not going to be too big of a deal later on. As long as it doesn't make you always worried about how do I mold this thing to the point where you're just making easy technical shapes when you could be making a more interesting sculpture if you were just willing to figure it out later.
Thick technicals?
Thick technicals. I'm liking this part pretty well at this point. I feel like the mouth is...
Payne says I really like his smile.
Yeah, he's got a strong sort of overall design in this mouth area, but I don't think we're quite there yet. It needs a little more oomph, I think. So I'm going to try drooping this lip a bit more on this side. Give us a little bit more of a bit of a twist happening. So we have shapes that kind of mirror this eye and flow around here, but then I want to come back up and sort of indicate into this eyebrow shape. So I'm going to try messing with this symmetry a little. Give him a bit of a droopy lip on the one side. Kind of like the 1990s no, it was probably early 2000s. Whichever Batman movie had Tommy Lee Jones as the Two-Face had a very strong graphic quality to that mouth area. wasn't anywhere near as convincing as
Wasn't it Batman Returns?
yeah, it could be. That sounds right. But the Christopher Nolan Two-Face, much more sort of believable, convincing, maybe even gorier, less cartoonish Two-Face, but I don't think it was as strong kind of graphically. An example of making it look very believable and anatomically correct, but not necessarily better. I did like the look of the Heath Ledger Joker with the scars. I thought that was a good touch to the Joker character. That sharp cartoon Joker nose and chin works great for the cartoon. It gives you a good immediate, quick distinguishing feature for the character. He's a big triangle, or a big, like, skinny bottomed trapezoid that plays nicely off the cartoon Batman's big thick brick of a head. But I think in a live action setting, it's not going to be as interesting. Because it skews too hard towards having kind of a clarity of design without enough variety. So it looks like we're almost ready to stop the stream for the night. If anyone wants to show their progress, pain. For anybody that's lurking, glad you could join us. We'll be doing this again Tuesday from 8 till 10. I think we will carry on with this sculpt. I might see if I could get a little bit done between streams, cleaning up some of these, getting at some of his little hard to reach areas. Haven't quite figured out how to do that on stream yet. These under bits, it's awkward to get to when you're worried about the camera. So I may do a bit of that between streams. But I think we'll be largely
visually similar when we pick back up. Just in case there's anyone trying to follow along.
Here's Jen's progress.
We're getting somewhere. Yep, we definitely need to build a clamp system for that sort of armature. I think those big giant boats of feet to get it to stand up would throw me off if I were working on something like that.
Like, should I show it?
I mean, I guess we could ask Payne if she wants it shown. I think the polite thing to do, if anyone is interested, if you're lurking around and you're wanting feedback on something you're making, or you know somebody that might be interested in sculpting or monsters art, that sort of thing, let them know that we're here and they can feel free to send us things for the next stream or during the next stream that we can look at. We will have to figure out a way, I think, to let people know that if they want that kind of feedback, the caveat will be that they need to
Pandemonium's progress.
be okay with their work being shown on the stream.
Said resize the claw on one side, but I'm sculpting the face a bit to get the shape right, but not really any semblance of done. Attempting to find a better way to stand him up before next time.
A good way to do that is get yourself a bit of 2x4, say 8 or so inches long, 2 sections, and then you can drill them through through the 4-inch axis and run a bolt, and you can actually use those as a pretty effective grabber for your bits of wire.
Do you mean the one I already have?
Did we already make her one? I can't remember.
Okay, turn the picky off.
You gonna turn the picky off?
And it is time.
Alright.
That has the mantis work in progress.
Well, thanks for watching. To all those who are watching, thanks for showing up again, Payne.
And playing
along. Thanks to Chuck and the Sinister Cupcakes for showing up earlier. Everybody have a good night. Try and make some cool shit.
And we'll see y'all on Tuesday.
And we will see some of you on Tuesday. Most of you, maybe.
Laters.